Meet the Beast. I'm Mohamed Amin. This is my hometown, Nairobi. It's where I work and it's where Dad worked before he was killed. I inherited the CameraPix news agency from Dad after the air disaster. And we're busy, unbelievably busy. Dad had just himself to worry about. I have to juggle news crews and equipment around a continent where bribery and bloody-mindedness is endemic.
Hello?
Murad?
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Drew is going off to Chad tonight, and Pete and the others are going to Mombasa tonight. So we've just got to make sure we've got enough crews for next week, huh?
Right, what else is coming up?
Well, there is an IMF shoot. Chad is the IMF. Then there is a shoot in Malawi next week, and we've got UNHCR in Dadaab and Kakuma on Monday.
That's just a cameraman, is it?
It's just a cameraman. It's just a cameraman, no producer. But you know, let's just keep in mind what other crews we can pick up, because we're running out of cameramen and we're running out of equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll have to. I mean, you know, what will we do? Rent the camera, or?
We'll have to rent a couple of rigs for these, because all our rigs are going to be out. Morris is coming back from Congo today, but then he's also shooting in Nairobi for RT Ireland next week.
Things have come on a bit since Dad cycled to work with a box brownie, only later graduating to a succession of battered Peugeots.
Well, Dad had 18 car crashes, to my knowledge. He was a pretty. He was not a hopeless driver. He was just used to want to get everywhere very fast. And his left leg, because of the amount of operations that he'd had on it from the car accidents, actually ended up being 2.5 inches shorter than the right leg. So he walked with a limp for most of his life. This is the street that when my dad first moved to Nairobi. He lived on this street here. This was before my mom came and joined him. And he had his office here. The first CameraPix office was also here. This is Finlay House.
Thrown out of Tanzania at the age of 23 after his brush with the communists in Zanzibar, Dad had to start all over again. He worked phenomenal hours. No job was too great or too small. Inside him was an almost demonic urge to succeed.
This is the camera that made his name. It's with this Bolex that he covered his first world exclusive, a military training camp in Zanzibar that landed him in jail. By today's standard, it's a fairly unsophisticated camera with a wind-up mechanism. Crucially, it didn't give him any sound. For him to compete with the international media, he'd have to go out and buy more sophisticated equipment. And in order to do that, he'd have to work long hours and work for a lot of people. This is how he got his nickname as 6 Camera Mo.
6 Camera Mo delivered the goods, but his meanness and creative accountancy were legendary.
He was tight-fisted and a workaholic. There's no polite way of saying it. That's what he was.
If he was claiming money from you, you can be sure that he'll get every cent out of you. And he was a very expensive guy as well to work with, you see. One time I was in London and I met a foreign editor of a newspaper. And I was just asking him casually, if he knew Mohamed Amin. He said, unfortunately, yes, you see. So I said, oh, why unfortunately? So he says, we work with him, but this guy is so expensive, he says, and difficult with money. He says, when he sends us a bill end of the month, even the postage stamp that he puts on the envelope is included in those expenses.
Dad plied his trade for 40 years. No one's counted, but there are probably 4 million or so still photos in our picture library. It's a life's work in frozen images, black and white and color. It's a chronicle of Africa, its glories, its people, its wildlife, its incomparable beauty and its unimaginable depths of darkness. That Dad survived so long in the field in the most violent and unpredictable continent in the world is down to good health, good planning, and good luck. He had that Teflon quality that kept him out of harm's way, and every shoot was a military campaign with an exit strategy. Dad's first love was the stills camera, but he saw that the future lay in television and the moving picture. This is his video collection, a record of a continent and its troubles, triumphs, and coups d'etat. On these shelves is a unique chronicle of the twilight of empire and the often violent birth of new nations. Dad always chose to film on the winning side. Losers, he told me, don't like to be filmed and often end up shooting the photographer. So there is a lot of footage in the archive of Dad liberating Africa, while all around the crowds cheer and the poor shopkeepers are relieved of their goods. Years later, he'll be on the same street corner as the next winning army sweeps in and the process of looting continues. Many of the stories Dad covered are only half remembered today. They lie forgotten like discarded newspapers. But to the ambitious young freelance in 1967, just out of jail, raring to go, and hell-bent on making a name, colonial wars in obscure countries were meat and drink. Give Dad a plane and he was on it. In that year, he covered a sequence of punitive expeditions as the British attempted to shore up their empire. By the waters of the Red Sea, he photographed Charles de Gaulle. The French president was desperately trying to cling on to what was called French Somaliland. But Dad showed the attempt was doomed. The French Foreign Legion was having the same problems with their troublesome Muslim colony as the British. French Somaliland would become Djibouti, and the Legionnaires would get a bloody nose. The incredible year of 1967 continued with independence in Mauritius and the breakaway of Biafra in Nigeria. Then there was more work for Dad's cameras in Africa's perennial trouble spot, the Congo. An infamous Belgian called Blackjack Schramm with 100 white mercenaries had mutinied in Katanga. They were being held in a makeshift camp in Rwanda. In Kigali, the new Organization of African Unity had to decide what should be their fate.
We are coming to meet you with the object of you cooperating with us. As I'm talking on behalf of the organization, and the organization constitutes its members, every member of it had jointly agreed with the others that none of you would be allowed to return to this continent. To accomplish that, we will ask you to sign a declaration that you will never come back to Africa, and expect replies from you as whether you would accept these two offers or not.
Have you any idea when you may be moving?
No idea.
Because first of all, you're going to be documented and fingerprinted. Do you think this is going to take a long time?
I don't know. I hope it doesn't.
You hope it doesn't. Where do you particularly want to go when you leave here?
Home country.
Which is that, sir? You won't tell us.
That was Dad's 1967. Nearly 40 years on, my own life seems as busy, as varied, and as full.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Nakano. Take care. All right, see you later. Okay, bye-bye. Bye. Lack of crews, lack of equipment, big problem. Too much work. Can't complain about too much work, though. It's just getting it, you know, you can't screw it up. That's the problem. You can't screw it up. I won't know the flights to Cameroon until I get back to the office, and we'll have to check with the travel agent. It just depends on the day. Hello? Hello? Ah, joy of joys. Joy of Kenyan telecommunications.